Well, the euro, as we just heard, falling, heading for its worst week against the yen in 2 months. That's after Handelsblatt reported that the IMF is talking about aid programs with at least 10 Eastern European governments. It's a very important issue, and it's worth repeating. Let's bring in Ian Stannard, currency strategist at BNP Paribas. Ian, euro seeing some pressure. We've all got to remember that there are some big problems over in Eastern Europe.
Yes, that's right, and it certainly is going to filter through and away onto the euro. There are serious concerns with regards to the overall economic picture in many of the Central and Eastern European countries, as well as in the Baltics as well. And I think the move we've seen on the ruble as well today has added to that overall concern and is going to keep the spotlight very much on that region. So I think this is going to slowly feed through into the Eurozone. Don't forget the Eurozone has huge financial ties to this region, not just via the trade links, but also via the financial and banking links as well. So any signs of stress in this region is going to have a big negative impact on the euro. So on top of that, we also have the concerns within the Eurozone itself. There's been conflicting reports within Europe with regards to the next policy move, particularly within Germany, where there seems to be a lot of confusion about the routes which should be taken with regards to cleaning up the banking sector and whether we should take further steps towards quantitative easing. All this uncertainty is weighing on the euro. Right. So we are looking for the euro to move quite significantly lower. I would expect to move down into the 135 area.
Ian, it's Mark Crumpton with Carol. You mentioned banks a couple of times, and there seems to be some concern, at least, about the banks in Germany and what's going on there. We have the finance minister, Peer Steinbrück, saying in a speech yesterday that the regional state banks are what he called the biggest systemic risk to the nation's financial industry. How is that factoring into what's going on?
Yes, certainly that is a very big factor. The position of the regional banking system in Germany has become a major concern, and that is feeding through into the overall picture. Now, we won't know the full details of this until likely after the German elections in September, as it's obviously the politicians, not in the politicians' interest to start to reveal the full extent of the problems until then. But I think once the election's out the way, Germany will have to launch some sort of rescue package for its regional banking system, and at that point we'll start to get a better idea of the true extent of the problems, and at that point I'd also expect the euro to come under more intense pressure. So I think we're likely to see the euro now enter a more medium-term downward move.
And Ian, I might ask, BNP Paribas did increase its year-end target for the dollar against the euro and the pound. Why?
Yes, this was very much because of these concerns we have, which have been building over the course of recent weeks. From a bigger picture point of view, we've become increasingly concerned with regards to the pace of the global recovery, and I think the market has become far too optimistic with regards to its forecasts of a recovery. Equity markets were getting close to pricing in a very sharp V-shaped recovery, looking for growth to return to trend by next year, which I think is far too optimistic. Also, inflation fears, I think, were massively overdone, and we've seen over the course of the past week or so inflation indicators starting to undershoot market expectations, and I think next week's inflation numbers will also show that.
Ian, if I might ask in about 15 seconds, is this going to increase the dollar as a refuge, do you think?
I think in this environment the dollar is going to remain extremely well supported, and we will see the dollar make gains, particularly against the commodity and pro-cyclical currencies.
Right.
The one place where the dollar is likely to suffer is against the yen.
Ian Stannard, from BNP Paribas, joining us from London. Ian, always good to talk to you. Thanks. And you can find all the latest currency numbers and stories on our website, Bloomberg.com.
Definitely check that out.